Hey guys, it's Chuck with Covaction Dronography, and March 18th, 2021 was my 4th drone-iversary. I've been flying a Mavic Pro since that very day on March 18th, 2017. And the DJI Mavic Pro got me into something I never dreamed I would experience, and that's filming aerial cinematography and filmmaking and all kinds of cool stuff that has become quite the journey. And I kind of wanted to share some of my old footage and things that I've learned along the way that might help you as new filmmakers too, as we both learn and grow together. So have a look right after this. So this is March 18th, 2017, when my Mavic Pro finally left the ground with me piloting it for the very first time. One thing I didn't have in order to get good cinematic footage was a set of ND filters. So you'll definitely want to get ND filters as quickly as possible because they will allow you to control your exposure while you follow the 180 rule. And quite simply, the 180 rule is what gets you a nice motion blur, just like you'll find in Hollywood movies. To do that, you're going to set your frame rate at, for example, 30 frames a second, and then your shutter speed will be 1/60th of a second, essentially double the frame rate, right? So it's easy to remember. Another thing you're going to want to do early on is get a good editing program to cut up your footage and make it look professional. I was using Video Studio 2017 at the time by Corel, but I didn't use it like I should have for this particular project, and it was basically end-to-end uncut and pretty darn boring to watch. So definitely don't be afraid to edit. Get into it early, practice, and you'll find, you see how this dead spot right here? That's the kind of stuff you want to drop onto the cutting room floor. Get it out of there. And you can do that with a good editor. Another thing I did wrong was I used copyrighted music. The song I used for this video was Pink Floyd's Learning to Fly. So this thing was quickly pulled down by me off of YouTube and Facebook because they didn't think it was such a great idea that I did that. My favorite there would be Epidemic Sound, but I know many filmmakers have used YouTube library with good results, and there are other sources for royalty-free music as well to consider. So definitely don't use copyrighted music. Another really important thing to remember is before you fly at a new location, always do a pre-flight test. Look at your propellers, make sure they're not nicked, cracked, replace them if necessary. Check over the entire drone, make sure the battery is seated well on the drone. One really important thing is to make sure you calibrate your compass. Do not neglect doing that. And I learned that in this next video I'm going to show you right here. So in this case, I was just trying to catch the sunset behind my house, playing around again, and I didn't calibrate the compass. And you can see how the drone's pulling back. It's because it shifted into ADI mode on me, and I was basically out of control. The drone was just free flying away from me, and I was trying to get it back, so I did spin it around there, but it was in ADI mode, so you have control, but you don't have GPS, so the drone's drifting with the wind. And you can see right here, I almost caught these trees. I was super lucky, because look how close, they're so close. Oh my goodness. I still cringe when I watch that one. So the drone drifted off about, quarter of a mile away from me before I finally got it back. So definitely calibrate your compass. You do not want to experience this kind of stuff. Another thing you're going to want to take advantage of are the intelligent flight modes on these drones. So DJI has a whole slew of them, and what I used was the tracking feature to follow my vehicle in this next shot. So here's my 2001 Corvette, and I was going to do a little bit of saucy driving on an unused road and catch it with the drone, which I'd never tried before. So one thing to note is the colors are a bit saturated, but the drone, you can see how it tracks me really well from that field. It's hovering over the field. There's no objects that it could possibly hit in the way. And as I take off, you can see as I resurface the pavement a little bit there, the drone just stays right with me and keeps right up with the car. And did a really good job. And it's like having a camera crew with you. So definitely take advantage of those intelligent flight modes. They're a lot of fun, and I actually had a really good time making this video. So give them a whirl. You're probably going to find as you get into the hobby more that you're going to become a bit of a drone junkie. Well, at least that's what happened to me. I think I've had 6 drones since I started back with that Mavic Pro, counting that one. Maybe 7. I don't know, I lose count. Anyway, take a look at this next one. So they always say the best camera to use is the one you haven't. Oh, look at that shot. That is really, I still love this shot. And spark fit right through the crotch in that tree, so its small form factor definitely worked for me in that one. Anyway, using filters, flying slow and low, you can get some pretty epic stuff with your drone, even with a spark. Now this stuff should have been cut out. Remember to edit, edit, edit. You can cut that stuff out, all those little movements. You're gonna find the more you fly, the better you get at it. And that's true for the cinematic stuff too. You're just gonna get better and better. So never give up, just keep pushing the envelope. And case in point, right after I got my Mavic 2 Pro, late summer of 2018 when it came out, I couldn't wait to get it into the air, and it was late October when my wife and I went to Portland, Oregon, and we drifted across the Columbia River to go over to Washington to check out the Stonehenge Memorial. I'm so glad I checked this thing out. It was super late in the afternoon, the light was low, and right here you can see the advantage of editing because I'm getting the shot set up, getting prepared to do kind of like an orbit around part of the Stonehenge Memorial at a kind of a decent altitude so you can get a lot of the background. And this is kind of a rolling reveal shot that I did by hand. And see, right here is where it gets really good. I actually use this in the video, and you see the Columbia River in the background, and you can see the light starting to come through. This is just really fun to do and rewarding, and you're going to get shots like this. Just keep practicing. You're going to get really cool stuff like this. Don't be afraid to fly manually. So I'm going to fast forward to 2020, which was a really, well, crappy year. Well, it was actually a good opportunity to get out and fly the drone more than maybe I thought I would. And I started exploring abandoned buildings, which, if you're in the Northeast like I am, there's a whole bunch of them. And this particular site is the Penfield Manufacturing Building in Syracuse, New York. And the interesting thing is there's an elevator shaft up on the roof that's covered up with a house. Basically a fake house. So have a look at this. So I was on location, I was only across the street, so I had line of sight, always have visual line of sight. And I kind of got a fun shot of the roof of the building showing the structure from the top. And then with the Mavic 2 zoom, you can use that cool dolly zoom effect, which was kind of fun here, so I made use of that. Abandoned buildings are seriously fun to fly, so definitely do some of that stuff. The next shot I did didn't involve a drone at all. I was using a Pocket, and handheld cameras mixed with aerial footage makes for a really good project, so give it a try. It's really great to have the perspective from above and from the ground, because you can get sense of height and distance and everything using a ground camera in creative ways too. In this case, I used the Pocket just when I was on vacation in the Adirondacks. I was using the Osmo Pocket in slow motion and kind of panning up and panning down and catching those leaves falling in a really slow rate to kind of give a little sense of just, it was just cool, just a cool shot. And it worked in really good with my project because not everything can be from the air looking down. It's nice to have from the ground looking up. And that's what I was after with this one. So definitely mix it up and mix up your footage. Also, mixing up the kind of drone you use can make footage more fun to watch for your viewers. In this case, I just got the DJI FPV drone like a week or so ago, and it's a blast to fly, and it gives you a whole fixed wing kind of feel when you fly it. So here's just a little bit of me practicing, and yeah, I'm a little rough at it yet, so be kind. But anyway, you can see where you could mix this stuff in. It could be pretty cool. Just flying the FPV type drone around, even if you're not going to like dodge all these objects or swoop through them or whatever, you can see how the gimbal kind of travels in a different way. So maybe circling castles or mountains or things like that might look really epic with this particular drone. So just something to consider, and I'm kind of partial to it because, well, I'm having a hell of a lot of fun flying this thing. It's been a wild 4 years, and I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more fun in the next 4. So stay tuned for what I can come up with next. If you got some value out of this video, or there's something I left out that you wanted to see or hear about, let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to touch on it next time, and I'll absolutely respond to your comments. Thanks for watching my video. Click that like button on the way out. Subscribe to my channel. There'll be a lot more stuff like this, and certainly more cinematic stuff, because that's what I live to do. Fly safe. Catch you on the next one, and peace out.